Hi, and welcome to my channel, Keeping the Home. So my name is Katerra Martin, and this is a channel to encourage women around the globe. And I pray the testimony of my life and the life of my family would be a blessing to you. So today, I wanted to share with you what we have been doing during the quarantine. And at the end of it, I want to share a little Mennonite proverb that I put together. So stay tuned. So this whole quarantine really has not affected us as much as it has some people. Because part of it was, we already homeschooled, so that was not a change. And my hubby, Doug, our business is actually in the backyard, so with roofing, it did slow down a little bit, but he still worked enough that that was not a huge change in that. So anyway, so some of those things, yeah, like I said, it didn't affect us as some people who did not homeschool and people who did not have husbands working from home. So my heart really goes out to them because, like I said, besides socially distancing from other people, it really hasn't affected us that much in that sense. But one thing I thought about during this quarantine thing, this whole pandemic, is, sometimes we struggle in life, we have struggles in life, and then I feel alone, or I do. Like, let's say we're struggling in our marriage, and I'm feeling alone because everybody else seems happy and doing their thing, and it doesn't, my life does not affect them. But the difference in this pandemic, and this is what I found interesting, the hope that I could have, was that, we are all in it together. Like, I don't have to feel alone, even though I'm alone, home alone, I want to say, we're at home all alone. We realize that everybody else is at home alone in that sense. So, this thing, like I said, it was a different kind of struggle, and the whole thing, yeah, it's different than we have ever experienced in our life. But I believe God is doing something here. And even in the times where we do feel alone, something that I had to remind myself over and over again is something I know in my heart, I believe in my mind, but is that we seriously never ever are alone. When we have Christ in our hearts, He is with us. And one verse I want to share with you here, one of the verses that really helped me, and the thing is, when you memorize these and you hold them in your heart, and they really hold true meaning, it is a strength we can have. Deuteronomy 31:6. It says, "Be strong and of a good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, He it is that doeth go with thee. He will not fail, nor forsake thee." And that was just a sweet promise that God is always with us. And He's going to deal with other people, our enemies, or whatever it is that is against us. And He will take care of us because we are never alone. And at the beginning of this whole thing, I had prayed that God would use me. And I didn't know how, because how to reach out to others. Anyway, I kind of felt in a box. And I don't like being in a box. So my way out was putting my energies to use and spring cleaning my house and organizing things and stuff like that. But one thing I did, I would send verses out to people, my friends, church people, Bible verses, encouraging things. One thing that happened was that I got the idea to bake bread and go visit. We have neighbors all along here, and was to go visit all our elderly neighbors, give them a loaf of bread, and just ask them how they're doing and if there's anything we can do for them. And they all said that there's nothing that we could do. They're all taken care of, and like, the pandemic has not hit in northern Indiana as hard as some areas, so nobody was really concerned about that. But the interesting thing was, this was way back in March when the pandemic started, when we did this. Just last week, or was it this week? I don't remember. But anyway, one of those neighbor ladies came. She's in her 60s, and she brought us a pot of tulips, and she had tears in her eyes, and she was like, "You have no idea how much that meant to us. Someone really thinking about us and bringing us bread, just like homemade bread. No one ever brings us homemade bread. And I was blessed, because honestly, when we handed that bread out to people, I was saying, oh good, what can I do? How can I help them? You know, can I go grocery shopping for them and all that? And I was really disappointed when they all were like, no, we're good, we're good. And you know, so we let it go. And here, a month later, she shows up at my door and tells me how much it really did bless her. And that small little thing, which I thought wasn't worth anything in a sense, made such a big difference in someone's life. Another thing that we did, my grandparents are both, my one set of grandparents are living. The only set that either my husband and I have is my dad's parents, and they're Amish, so we went singing for them, kind of like a caroling thing. We're like, you know, we'll just stand outside, but they insisted we come in the house, so we did, but we sat on one side of the kitchen and they sat on the other side, and we sang songs for them, and it was good for us and our children, but it was such a blessing to them. And then we also went and visited an elder lady. She's like a grandmother to us. She's just such a dear person, and we sat outside around the fire, so that was a lot of fun. And yeah, just some of the things we did, a few things. One other thing that happened, my sister made the mistake of sharing a coffee recipe. We love iced coffee. Our kids love iced coffee. And it's called Dalgona coffee. It's a whipped coffee that you make with sugar and instant coffee. It is so good. If you haven't tried it, you should. Go Google it. But it was a mistake because we were seriously addicted to it. But it was just fun things that we did. And like I said, I will be sharing, after this video here, I'll be sharing clips of pictures of things we did. So you might enjoy that if you keep watching. And one thing too with the pandemic is I did not have to worry about food, because we had meat in the freezer. We have 2 freezers, and we have meat. We raised our own hogs, so we have that. And I do a lot of canning. And even the boys are like, Mom, why do you keep going shopping? We have food. And well, we need the basics. So fresh fruits and vegetables, and milk and eggs is the one thing that we really need. And cereal. For some reason, we always need cereal. So I did go out, but I didn't stock up. In the beginning, they're like, stock up for 2 weeks, or some people say stock up for a month. I did not panic. I'm like, you know what? I believe that God will provide, and I'm not going to have that fear in my heart. I'm going to go in faith that every week when I hit the grocery store, there'll be food there for us. Now, there was a few times when there was limited stock, especially in the fresh fruits and vegetables. I did, the weeks that I hit it, that they had just stocked up. I did get extras just because the next week you wouldn't get anything. So, but one other thing that we have done, or I have done, is praying for revival in our country. You know, you hear so many stories of people being affected by this, and people affected in a good way. You know, people turning to God like they've never had. People tuning into these live church streams. People who never darkened the door of a church. And those testimonies show me that even in this dark time, God is still working, because God is never silent in that sense. But to me, praying for revival, and I had to be reminded too that the revival starts in my own heart, and that I can have a revival here in my heart, in our home, in our family, in our church, but then also to the greater world around us. And one verse I came across a couple weeks ago, I love Psalms. This is Psalms. I love Psalms because there's just so much good prayers and stuff in there. And this is the Psalm that I had, and this is the one that kept, every time I want to pray for the nation, this is one thing that I like to pray. Scripture over the nation was Psalms 67. It goes, God, be merciful unto us, and bless us, and cause his face to shine upon us. Selah. That thy way may be known upon the earth, thy saving health among all nations. And this verse is the one that really just struck with me, because it says that thy way may be known, and thy saving health. You know, those are 2 powerful things. 2 things. 1, that people may know who God is. And 2, that people may know that our health comes from God. But it goes on to say, let the people praise thee, O God. Let all the people praise thee. O let the nations be glad and sing for joy. For thou shalt judge the people righteously and govern the nation above the earth. Let the people praise thee, O God. Let all the people praise thee. Then shall the earth yield her increase, and God, even our own God, shall bless us. God shall bless us, and all the ends of the earth shall fear him. And so that was my prayer, that we could praise God and know that he is in control, as much as we feel like the government is controlling us. And we can live in fear of that. I can have faith and peace in my heart, knowing that God has the ultimate control of the earth. We be strong and be steadfast in our faith. And now, I want to share with you a few pictures of things that we did during the quarantine. The boys were helping Doug carrying up the wooden bed frame that they had made since their other one was falling apart. And the wonderful Dalgona coffee that we are slightly addicted to. Singing for the elderly here and keeping our social distancing around the fire. And all excited to start the spring cleaning. I had made Kool-Aid scented Play-Doh for the children. They loved it and came up with all kinds of creations. Took walks through the woods. Fun seeing the sunset. And yes, we had snow in April, but it was so pretty with the daffodils. I had sewed some dresses for our daughter Miranda and also altered some others for her to wear. And we shelled and cleaned popcorn. And the children were dreaming about summer. Well, I hope you enjoyed that sneak peek into our lives. And it was so beautiful here that I just had to come outside for this last segment of this video. So yes, I hope you enjoy that. And I just want to say here, I'm going to read now the Mennonite proverb. You know, I have been so blessed to have a heritage that has taught me well in keeping the home. So that is where I came up with this Mennonite proverb. It's a mixture of Bible and Mennonite. So I hope you enjoy. And if you see me swatting, there's some gnats flying around my head right now. So anyway, so here's the proverb. Who can find a virtuous woman? She is worth far more than a brand new minivan. The heart of her husband safely trusts in her and is completely satisfied with her love. She will honor and respect him their whole married life. She is thrifty and an industrious woman. She likes FedEx and orders products on Amazon and also does the Walmart grocery pickup. She gets up early with the birds and makes a hearty breakfast for her large family. She considers her garden and buys mulch and fertilizer for it. She plants her garden with fruits and vegetables and plants beautiful flower beds. She strengthens her arms and back with all her hard work. She perceives she's gotten the best deal of everything she buys. Her home is a safe place, and the light of Jesus shines in her heart, even at night. She is a domestic woman making food from scratch. She likes to do DIY projects as well. She gives food and clothing to the poor. Yes, she also makes a casserole for her sick friend or neighbor. She is not afraid of the winter, for she knows her family is clothed with all her amazing garage sale and thrift store finds. She sews a lot of her own clothes. Her dresses are of knit and double brush poly. Her husband is a man of integrity and is well known in the community. She makes fine head coverings and hair bows and sells them at the local flea market. She is known as a woman of strength. She is at peace with the future, knowing her and her family are prepared. She is kind and speaks wisely. She is not an idle woman. Her home is well organized. Her children thank her for all she does. Her husband also praises her. Many women have done well, but thou excels them all. She understands that it's vain to focus on the outward appearance, but knows a woman who fears and loves the Lord, she shall be praised. Others praise her well. She is rewarded for the fruits of her labor. Well, I hope you enjoy that, and for those of you who are Mennonite can identify with it, and if you're not, gives you a little bit of an idea of who we are, I guess. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and remember, when we are strong in the Lord and seek after wisdom, you will not only survive in this calling of womanhood, but you will thrive. Bye. God bless.